Let's get Pericles started under play. And if you're trying to learn the game, you're better off looking at like Mark Herman's playthrough examples than mine. I'm liable to make mistakes, etc., and a lot less focused on the idea of teaching than of just kind of experiencing. So, and there may be other people who have playthroughs who are better choices than me as well. So the first thing we do, I've got to follow the sequence of play in here. There isn't one on the player aids. I find that kind of disturbing. You have it on your player shield though, so if you're not doing something like I am playing it solo, where you've got like the player shield set up to mark who's who, kind of more than anything else, you're probably better off, each player has an example of this. This gives a little bit more detail though, and I like it. The first thing we do is we draw this. We've got wasps. The names of the cards, man, I don't know. He'll never be short of voting pebbles. He keeps a beach at home. Of voting pebbles, whatever. Okay, so this has two issues, which are oracle issues that are going to show up. And one of them is an oracle in Athens, placed on the opposition factions 1. Currently the opposition are the demagogues. We'll put it over there. Normally you'd be sharing, like the Athenians would be playing, sitting here and here. And both would have easy access to that side of the board and everything would be facing them. Because I'm soloing it, I have it all facing me. And likewise, we have the same situation with Sparta 1 in the opposition. In this case, the Arpontids are the opposition. Okay, and then we have Will of the Assembly, Prophecy. Athens has it in the Sicily Theater, and Sparta in the Amphibolus. Okay, these don't always show up, but look, we're being pushed to go to Sicily, and they are being pushed to go someplace I don't even know. Way up here, which is a threat on the Hellespont, so that's pretty important. The success, okay, so both players have to control that theater. That's going to be tough to do. Basically, your opponent just has to get some pieces in there, and they will prevent you from controlling it. And success is 5 honor for the factions. Failure is losing 5 honor for each faction. And 5 strategos tokens are removed from next turn's stock. How I'm going to remember to put them back where they belong, I don't know. I'm going to keep the current event on top of the deck. That way I can separate that from the discard pile or whatever. Okay. Now we flip back through the rulebook. Political cards. Well, nobody has an entourage, so everybody's going to get a 9-card hand from here. Now, these are reshuffled every turn because they're used to deal out a bunch of cards to each player, and they also are used for the battle cards. So it dealt out the 9 cards each. I just recently watched Marco's review of it. Not the whole thing. I can never watch the whole of anything. I jump to the end, listen to what he said. And I understand his gripe, but I am a little confused by it because, well, yes, I understand only wanting to play it in 4. I have to agree. Other than doing it solo like this, I would not want to be running a bot with the flowcharts. It's like a very complicated bot situation. Might make sense for pure solo. I doubt that I'd want to, if I was the kind of person who liked AI-driven solo games. But one of his concerns confused me a little bit. Yes, it's a hard game for people to grasp, and it may take more than one playing to kind of get it. What I found was it takes like part of one playing, and then you get that aha moment, and you start to realize what you're doing. But yeah, the other side of it though is if you've got somebody familiar with it, able to explain it, maybe play one of the theater scenarios just to get an idea how the theater part works. One of the things that Marco was claiming was that you can't get the people to play it, and I found that it's about the size of a normal war game, you know, in terms of how much time the regular scenarios take. I mean, it takes a decent sized session, but you can get not the full campaign in, but one of the two Peloponnesian Wars in a reasonable sized setting. We played it at the game store where there's a lot of distractions for at least one of the players. There are a lot of breaks in action and everything. We got it done in a normal sized setting, like 6 hours or something like that. So I would say, you know, it's probably the same size as getting something like Here I Stand going. And 4 is a smaller number than 6. I don't know how much I'd want to play Here I Stand in less than the optimal either, to tell you the truth, although you don't need bots in that case. Anyway, now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at each player's cards. So let's take a look at the aristocrats first, because they're going to be the first players to play. And I look at my 9 cards, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this kind of deep dive into the game on this first turn. So it's going to actually take several videos to make it through the first turn, I assume. But I'm only going to look at one player to give you the idea of it. So what I like to do is I like to sort by what the different abilities are. And take a look at them like this one. If controlling faction, well, the aristocrats are the controlling faction, which means I will be getting this bonus, +2 for any ability, +4 strategos. I probably want this card. A 7 total on any action, and 4 strategos is a very, very powerful card. So that's one of the better cards in the deck. But I'm sorting by what they are affected by. Okay. Now, I'm also looking at what we're interested in. I'm not doing a lot of collusion between the two players. You're allowed a certain amount of negotiation, but you can't like reveal your cards and stuff. So, you know, you can say, well, I'm going to go into military, but you've got to do it at the table. You're not supposed to wander away and have discussion and stuff. All right. So this card I'm going to have as part of my hand. Of course, I'm going to have him as part of my hand no matter what. I have to think about my other abilities here. So military allows me to move into Sicily. That sounds like a good thing and something I want to get going. So I'm going to put at least Antiochus in, because he's worth 5 towards military and gives me 2 strategos. This guy's also worth 5 and gives me 2 strategos. What is the difference? The difference is this is a more flexible card. So I'll do this one. I probably will do this one as well. There's already an Oracle on the board. I've got an Oracle card worth 5. I'll take it. That gets me to 3. But now the question is, between diplomatic, league, military, are any of these particularly interesting to me? So let's think about what we can do with them. Because right now our goal is to get control of Sicily. And our secondary goal is to prevent control of Amphipolis from going to the Spartans. And both of these are important because they will boost my, as the controlling player's, honor. And there's a penalty as well, right? We'll lose strategos, so we'll have less in the stock for next turn. How big a deal is that? That's hard to tell. It is quite possible that we could run the entire stock. It's also possible we might not. So it all depends on what cards you draw and what you choose. For next turn, which we don't have a lot of words for unless we're banking those cards in our brain trust with the intention of not using them. So let's take a look at what these do. Diplomacy. Right now this is a neutral theater. If our strategos plus 2 times, plus the value is 2 times or greater than the enemy combined value, we'd get an allied base here. That would be a powerful and useful thing, but it's risky. 2 times is hard to get. If we can play out the enemy and eat up his Strategos. It might be a worthwhile choice. It's also not a bad card. It's a 7-point card, which can help us win some honor and power over there. Let's look at some of the others. We're at peace right now, which means we have the ability to offer citizenship, and we have the ability for a colony. Colony is not a bad choice if we had a card with a high value like this one to put into play. We're not sure what we're going to pick yet, but that's a definite thought to maybe try to expand something before we actually advance. Okay, let's look at some of the others. Military, we kind of know what military does. That's going to allow us to move our forces. We probably want another military. I'm going to grab this one because it's another 5-point card. So that's 4 of my 6 cards. I got 2 more coming to me. How about league cards? What are they going to do for me? Well, league cards, if I can get troops in the theater, I can expend Strategos and build a league base over here. That doesn't sound like a bad choice. So I'm going to throw at least 1 league in here. And I'm at 3, 5. I need 1 more card. More military or more league? Well, what are the different things I can do with military? I can build forces. I could do raids, which give me honor, which could be valuable, definitely. And I can move forces and engage in battle. I'm not sure which to take. I'm going to roll a die, odd, even. I'm going to ignore the diplomacy cards and throw them into my brain trust. And so we're going to put another military in. That gives us 6 cards. Our 7th card will be this one. I'll just keep these face up, I think, because it doesn't hurt me. I take the brain trust and I throw it back here. We'll get back to what we select, but I'm going to handle the rest of the powers and their choices. But you saw kind of how I made my decision making. Is it naive? Probably. But right now, I'm not really terribly familiar with what things I need to do, and we're going to have a lot of blundering around in the game. That's kind of cool, like I said in the introduction, because there was a lot of historical blundering around. The question is, will it generate bad results? Like in some games that had, where the historical situation, say Paths of Glory in World War I, there's a lot of blundering around in World War I where people didn't really know what to do in terms of how to get a grip on the enemy properly. Maybe not so much right at the Schlieffen Plan point, although that did not survive contact with the enemy. But I think the key there is if the players go into that game without any kind of plan, the game goes off the historical rails and is just horrible. If you go in with a plan and your plan's ahistorical, the game goes off the ahistorical rails, but at least it's an interesting game. You're able to direct things where you want it. With this one, I feel like you get the most historical result if you kind of aren't doing terribly well. If people are really focused and laser guided on their plans, you're probably going to move a little away from the history, although not as badly as you do with, say, Paths of Glory. But you also, I think, still get a reasonable play out. So anyway, that's just my gut impression off of just a little bit of playing. The biggest thing is that your first play, even though you're going to be blundering around making mistakes, isn't going to necessarily be violating believability in any sense. I'm planning on coming in and talking too much about the demagogue card play, but there's something of interest here, and it's actually of interest as well for him as the aristocrat, because he's the controlling faction. He could play this for war and peace. There's a cost to using this. It can trigger your brain trust, which has its own separate cost, but it doesn't have to. But the cost for playing this is you don't get the bonus strategos that you get here. And him in pre-plague, that's 4 bonus strategos from there. If he's able to keep the controlling player, which probably he can, then maybe not. But I didn't see it switch very often. It's not necessarily easy to switch it. If he's able to keep because the controlling player has certain advantages. He gets an extra point over here, and he gets an extra issue to choose as well. So he has got a little bit more capability of tailoring the issues that are coming up to his hand. So he's got more likelihood to keep staying in control. Okay, so there's a couple of choices here. One is, am I interested in declaring war? Right now we're at peace, which is kind of funny. The one-turn scenarios that start on turn 1 start in a state of war. The multi-turn scenarios start in a state of peace. Now, the effects of peace are kind of painful, which is that Athens and Sparta themselves, their own military units, can enter but can't leave a space. I'm sorry, may not enter but can leave a theater that has opposing forces, Spartan or Athenian, again. The League units don't have any effect, and they aren't affected by anything. Again, you can do proxy wars, you can do wars against the League. What that means is whoever's going to play the last piece in a couple of key locations, here, 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 probably here. Actually, this whole chain is kind of key, but because Sparta's not going to be able to go through Athens, is going to have a certain degree of control over whether or not the opponent is going to be able to contest or take over an area. And in particular, and of course the League units could march up and do it, but the key element here is if I don't declare war, I may have a harder time getting to Sicily. On the other hand, if there's no war, I might have an easier time preventing the Spartans from getting into Amphipolis. So it's probably a 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other type of thing. I'm not going to let it heavily influence things, but I am going to consider, hey, this is a 6-point card on an issue that maybe we want to have. Another issue that's of interest to me is the ostracism issue. This is a good card. I want this. Ooh, it's Socrates. I do want this issue. I do want this card no matter what. But do I want to play ostracism? That's a different question. Actually playing ostracism, I want this as defense if my opponent plays ostracism. Actually playing ostracism is worth 3 honor and causes the opponent to lose 3 honor. It gets rid of the point span here. And I'm trying to remember if it determines who is the leader as well. I can't remember that. It's the oration honors, it's in their controlling segment. Yes, if you win the ostracisms issue, you become the controlling player. So it might be a way to seize power as well. I thought it was, but I just wanted to make sure. That makes it appealing in other ways, but I certainly do not want my opponent to play ostracism. A 4-point card is good. I will get that into my hand. The other options, I'm not so sure. For example, this, I'm just not sure. A League card worth 6, yeah, that's pretty good. League is appealing. We have 2 5-point Oracle cards. I probably don't want to burn 2 cards on the Oracle, but I probably do want to burn at least 1. So I'll put that there. That gives me 2. Military, certainly of interest. 7-point card for military, yeah, that's going. A 6-point card for military, yeah, that's going. I'm down to 2 more cards that I can gain. I got a 6-point League card and a 6-point War and Peace card. Oh, that sounds pretty good to me. So I'm going to do that. I'll make the rest my brain trust. And hey, you got to see another set of choices. Now, this is where things are interesting. So if I'm holding my hand, it looks like this, but we can see my opponent gets to see my leader card in there. Is that important? No, you always have this, so I don't know if it's that big a deal, but it kind of irks me in a weird sort of way. You're not going to forget whether or not somebody played their leader usually, though, because when they do, they probably trigger off their brain trust as well. The terrain, getting from Corcyra down to Sicily is not easy for Spartans. Athenians can just sail. But for the Spartans, I don't have an easy way to get boats on this coast. Sparta is separate from the coast. This is all Athenian allied. This is empty. I could move in here by land, build, or into Corcyra, build a base and start building some troops. Once I build a base, though, I can make the move. So I focused a little bit more on diplomacy with both the Spartan leaders and a little less on league. I'm not sure how that's going to all play out. Now, we go over to the next thing, which is and we've set aside our cards. We each have our faction leader card in play, and there are no hostages available. So now this is done simultaneously, as is the card selection. There are rules to allow you to play it not simultaneously, but it's pretty damn easy to just be working on your card selection all in your own head, maybe with some discussion with your ally, and then in the debating, while your enemy, city is doing the same thing, trying to figure out their own issues. And it's almost like it's hidden from each other. It's not completely, it's in the open, you can be paying attention, but you generally aren't paying too much attention. Okay, so right now, we're going to take a look at our aristocrats here, and they get to pick one issue that they can put at +2. Well, let's look at what we took. We took a couple military, we took an oracle, a league, another military. We definitely want militaries there. We have the War and Peace issue. If we put that on the board, it goes in the 0 space, so this is a waste to do it. Ostracism, same thing. Oracle's already on the board, that's accounted for. So, my choices are really league and military, unless there's something I just want to grab. For example, I could grab colony. We're at peace right now. However, we might not be at peace when it's triggered. Right? I don't know what the ordering is on these. I don't think that's an issue, actually. Anyway, immediately build Delian League base. It's got to be a friendly controlled or contested theater. I can't just throw it down, say, in Sicily and make that, my ally that way. I've got to already have a presence in an area to build a base. I don't know that that's terribly valuable to do. Okay. I want to take a look at these. I don't know if these bullet points mean I can only do one of these, or if I get all of them, because it seems like a pretty weak one-time use if all I can do is, convert something and I don't get the extra forces, but I don't know. Actually both, so this could be a quick way to, grab some power here and get a couple honor, etc. I have a good card for it. I could get +2 on it to begin with. with citizenship. With colony, that would be somewhat less effective, but both of them give me a couple honor. So let's see if I want to put one of them out. I don't particularly. Let me just use the die to make some decision making. I have this league card. It's not terribly powerful. It's my only league card, so I am going to actually grab a league issue and put it in the 2 space. Now, at the same, immediately after I do that, this guy looks at his hand, and we'll spread him out. They don't see each other's hands, of course. He's only got one of those. Ooh. He's got a lot of ostracism power. Do I want to throw my coalition into some chaos at this point? I could grab control. Is there a pain for the controlling faction? Not particularly. I'm going to say on a 1 he'll go for it just because he has those 2 ostracism issues sitting on him. He will not. The war peace. Do I need that? I may have trouble capping, being the top unit on either of those stacks. I can probably manage on one of those 2 locations. Probably not all of them. So, because I'm really viewing that the fight's going to come possibly here at Thessalia or anywhere along the way. So it's hard for Sparta to get there, that's for sure. But here, Sicily or Corcyra could be the block point, which is what you've got to look for. Where's your block point? Where's the problem? And as a matter of fact, this could be the problem too. But it's easier to stop them at Corcyra just because of the movement penalty. So what am I thinking of here? Whether or not I want war. Why would I want war? Because I can probably blow through this even if he gets the jump on me there. But then again, he can probably blow through as well. So I'm only going to put a 1. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in getting the war and peace at this point. I've got the Oracle in place, the league card. There's already a league out there. I want to make sure I get a military out there. I'll put a military on the 1 space. Now, at the same time, Spartans are doing theirs. But now he gets to pick 3 more. And what we see is a military and a league. Well, I have 1 for league. I could put another league out. I've got the war and peace. I don't want to play that. I've got an any. Let us put certainly 2 military, because we've got to focus on the military. But now comes the question, do we want another? We're going to put a 3rd military out, just because our cards seem to say that more than they say anything else. And I think we're going to need a lot of military effort. Because remember, military allows us to build troops too. In a friendly theater, no. In a friendly city-state, we can build friendly units per base, but can we increase the bases? Getting a 3rd base here would be awesome. I don't know. Maybe the league counter can be used for that. The league counter's got other purposes, though. Now, he gets to pick 2 issues, I think. I gotta look these things up. Yes, I've played recently, but 3 issues in places, and the 0, the opposition places 2 issues, yes. Okay, so what do we have out there? Well, we don't have the war and peace. We might want that. We don't have ostracism. Well, we already made the decision not to do that, but whatever. There's 1 league in play. We're going for that. This is in play. A couple military. There's not a lot else we're good at. There's a lot of military on the board that we can contest already. I'm not good at the any issues. So putting something like, citizenship or something out there at random just to get some victory points, that doesn't seem very easy. So I don't know what to do. I don't want to put too much more military out there. So I am going to put the war and peace or the ostracism, I think. Just because I have points going towards each. I like the ostracism better. Odd even. Yeah, we're going to put the ostracism out there. This is already causing problems, but our hand kind of determined it. We got one more to go. That one more to go. Do we want another league issue? Not particularly. We're going to just throw yet another military out there to make sure that Athens gets to do a lot militarily. Spartans have picked theirs as well. A league issue as the bonus issue for the Aegeid. The Repontid, yeah, good luck, took a diplomacy issue on the one space. Then 2 military and a diplomacy for him. He went with a war and peace and a military. Wants to get the war started for whatever reason. Not really a particularly good reason, good intention for this, but these guys are bonused. It's going to be hard to get them anywhere unless they can attack where there are actual Athenian units, which is something they're forbidden to do. And now we're going to go to the debate phase. I am also going to handle the debates kind of atomically, not really worrying about what the other player is doing. To some extent, there's some noise that cuts across. So, for example, the fact that they didn't pick a war and peace and he was the last person to go and could have picked it is important. Now, in order to get peace off, or peace out, you have to get somebody on the other side to agree to be working towards peace as well. And actually then, if both people have put their peace counter out, it's kind of cool because it probably will break out just because there's a 10 honor bonus to whichever sides win the issue if peace is actually established. But if only one side throws a peace issue out, you might win the debate issue, but it doesn't mean a damn thing for the game, and you don't get that big 10 honor bonus. So it becomes much less of an important issue to debate. All right, so I'm going to operate just one country at a time here. It's easier for me mentally to focus on one side's decision-making process. So the aristocrats get the first chance to do something. Well, we don't have the war and peace issue. We do have a bonus in not that issue. Nope. Only if we're if we're controlling, we get to pick any other issue. So that becomes a 6-point card in that favor, plus other things. So let's take a look, and I'm gonna have to do this many times, but I want to work on these here like this. So what am I worried about? I'm worried about the ostracism issue. I'm very worried about it. I want to, I guess, get my kicker out. So I'm going to play this card on the ostracism issue. And I'm picking on that issue. Now he's the one who picked that issue. And I dropped a card. I did not play my faction leader, but his faction leader is an ostracism issue dude. He's not the controlling, so ostracism is the only thing he gets the bonus on. I got another ostracism guy. oracle. Now the problem is, by picking ostracism, I've kind of made it the most important issue out there. So he's going to take his. And now we flip him over. And I'll keep those up here just to keep them easy to see. And we've got a 7 with 4 strategos. We'll give him the strategos over there. And he's got a 6 with only 1 strategos. Ostracism will move 1 space in his favor. And these cards are now discarded and out of play. Now it's his chance to pick an issue. He's going to hold this for his last play, or close to his last play, because he might be throwing his brain trust into the ostracism and get a big swing off that. Which means I don't really want to play the oracle yet. I don't have a War and Peace. This might be my discard card. There's a league issue over there. I'm going to pick on his league issue. And he's going to look for his league card, and he's going to play his league card. And really what we selected as cards, which was kind of random, is what's going to determine things. So we've got 6 with 1 strategos, and he's got 5 with 1 strategos, which means the league issue moves only 1 space and goes away. And we get back to the aristocrats. What are they doing? You know, we're tied right now. This is a 6 card against anything. Why don't we pick on the oracle? This might not be our best card, but you know, it's kind of a crappy card, honestly. I'm gonna grab a military card. I'm gonna play this on one of those military issues. He says, I want to get the jump on a military. So he's gonna play the biggest, or is he gonna let it go? That's always an option. I could play a weak card, like my oracle card. But that's big bonus for oracle, so I don't want to do that. So I tend to play my big cards. It's not always the best idea. Sometimes you want to hold cards, sandbag a little bit. We'll see. So it's 5 to 7. Let's get the strategos out. 2 there. 3 there. You can see these get allocated pretty quickly, and they're your money for your campaigns, so they're pretty important. So 5 to 7, it goes 2 towards the demagogues. Now this was one that the aristocrats picked, but they lost it, and now the demagogues are feeling pretty good. What would we like to play? We would like to hold this as our discard if we could, although it does come with 2 strategos, which is kind of nice. This is a nice card to play. I'm going to go for another military issue. Mine are both 5s. This one comes with 2 strategos, but I'll probably get those somewhere else. Here's my feeling. So we'll go here, and we flip these over. And it's 5 to 6. Let's get the strategos played. 4 there, 1 there. 5 to 6, that means 1 more point towards the demagogues with another military issue. And they're doing pretty darn well. Okay, we've got an odd number of cards left. We started with an odd number of cards. That means it's the aristocrats to pick next, in case I forgot, which I did. And I got a 5-point oracle. I got a 5-point military. I got a 6-point ostracism. One of these cards gets held off. This one would generate me 4 more strategos from here. That might be really important. But ostracism. I don't want to be ostracized. That's maybe not that painful at this point in the game, though. Maybe it's more important to try to help Athens, because the game is not going to end easily. So I've got to decide, do I do I want to give up that ostracism issue? Actually, it's my favor right now. All the more reason. I am willing to pass on the ostracism issue. I think I'm going to go for the oracle. And so I declare the oracle. He's going to play in the oracle. This isn't a terribly good card anyway. And these come up. And it's now 5 to 5. It doesn't move anywhere. 2 go here, 1 goes here. Last card the demagogues get to play. How do they feel about the ostracism? They feel like they're going to trigger ostracism. How do I feel about it? If I play this card, I only get 3 points. I get a pile of strategos out of there. I'm going to take a look at his card, think about it. His pre-plague is only 2, so I would get 2 as well. We would get 4 out of the 5 strategos, which isn't too bad. But if I play this, we get 5 of the 5 strategos no matter what, and I get 4 of them if I hold on to this as my final play. However, I don't want it to be ostracized. I'm not terribly familiar with his card, so I'm going to look at it again. He's got the bonus for ostracism. That would move it 1. Neither of us would get ostracized. I would probably lose the issues, though, because he's in the lead on the issues. However, I would definitely lose it if I get ostracized. I'm going to fight for the ostracism if I get a 1 or a 2. I do not. So I'm going to put this card up against it. And that means these show up. He went with ostracism. I don't know who gets first pick of the strategos. It's his issue. He's the controlling faction. I'm not sure which one goes. But we've got 7 for ostracism versus 3, which means it moves 4 spaces. Now I could stop it there, 1, 2, 3. But I don't want to, because I do want to ostracize him. Let me look up how the strategos get dealt out. Wrong about one thing. Ostracism cannot be stopped. Only War and Peace can be stopped in the middle, in the 0 space. So let's see. I am not, there we go. If the card's issue is aligned to the debate issue, that faction is also awarded the number of strategos tokens. Oh, this is not aligned. I hope all the others were. I might not be getting all the strategos that I've been handing out. Any that's aligned. Shit. Okay, I gotta look at these. I can't tell who's who. I've screwed something up. I gotta try to reconstruct the game from where I was. Issues were appropriately aligned before. This is the first one that's not. He went with ostracism, so he gets 1 of the strategos. He did not get his military bonus, so he doesn't get any strategos. This is played. Oh, I can brain trust. Do I want to brain trust? I am winning everywhere. I don't see a point to doing it. I could not have brain trusted if the other faction leader had been in place. That would have knocked ostracism out of his hands, which would have worked pretty well. So this was a really good play. This maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. So I'm going to throw this back here because it's used. This goes over here. And now at the end, Sparta would do its debates. And then we get to the oration honor. The ostracism took place. So 1, 2, 3 of these go down. 1, 2, 3 go up. We don't worry about the point totals because of that. These cards are both played. He was the controlling faction. Has that changed? It has. Control now swings over here. The assembly shifts one towards the demagogues. What does that mean? That's a tiebreaker. Yeah. Okay. And now the final card is revealed, and he's the controlling player, so he gets one of these, and he is not the controlling player, it's pre-plague, so he gets the other 4. The 1 here has nothing to do with this number that he's getting. You just get 1 for this card. Neither player played their brain trust, so no penalty going into next turn. The demagogues were able to gain control without wasting it. But we screwed up and didn't get all our military issues out that we wanted. So Athens, because of that ostracism mission and all the effort that was put into it, has problems. Now, over here, what we do is ostracism's been handled. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Military, we're going to get 1 military over here. We're going to make that 3 military. We get an oracle. And we get our 2 free rumors. And these all go back for next turn. And he gets the grand total of 1 league and 2 free rumors. Now there's 3 to 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to give, I think, 2 up. All right, that'll get me to 4. No, I have to give 1 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 4. So I give him 1 of my rumors. It makes him less able to do things. At the same time, Sparta's doing theirs. I'll come back with that. I want to kick off one of their best cards to begin with, so they're going to call the diplomacy issue. That's, do we want to try to strip that one away? Well, we get to do more if we succeed. This is kind of the problem. If I trigger this one, then I'm stealing perhaps one of our actions. How dicky do I feel? I don't feel terribly dicky, so I'm going to go for the one in the center. He probably wants it too. This one's a better play. It's worth less. We turn them up. And that gives 2 there, 1 there. It's 5 to 6. I made the right choice because otherwise I would have stolen a card away from, I would have stolen the diplomacy issue and put it in the center, which instead we've got 2 available to us. Now we're over here. What's his situation? Bunch of military, the War and Peaces. We definitely want to get the War and Peace going. That's a pretty good card. I'm going to trigger War and Peace. He does not have a War and Peace card. He could play this for +2. Let's see what advantage we get off this. Because we're only giving up 2 strategos, 1 stratego. If we do this now, let's see if there's anything exciting. Only peace gives a bonus, so it's not terribly interesting. On the other hand, all my other cards are kind of useful. I think I'm going to play this, and I may brain trust as well, because it's early in the turn. So, we flip up, and we're looking at, okay, he gets 2 strategos, he gets 1, because it is not an ostracism issue, and he's at 8, he's at 6, but he's going to brain trust. To brain trust, I would shuffle these cards. Instead, I'm just going to roll a die for him. And it's going to be this one. They all get turned up and available to be seen. This one is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 8. Would have sucked if we didn't get it because we ended up tying. Because we kind of did want that. And let's see. We've got 4 cards left. 5 cards left. I think that means he gets the next pick. What does he want? Well, the league issue's already on him, so he's going to hold off on this, I think. And I think he's going to play a big military and try to get one of those empty militaries into play. How do we feel about this? Well, here's the thing. We've got 3 different military cards. Are we sure which one he's playing? This one's a 7, this one's a 6. I'm going to play the 6 simply because it ensures more strategos. But you don't know how that's going to work out. It works out as a 1-point difference. You get that point. And that puts us over here, I believe. We will also go with one of the neutral military issues to get more things into play. He wants to play for it as well. Let's see what we got here. That's a 7 to a 7. Neither of us is bonused by it, so it doesn't move. We tied up, and you can see similar cards, if not exactly the same. The names here are the families, if that matters. Okay. Now, we've got the league in our hand. We do not have the oracle in our hand. We could go for a diplomat. I'm going to play for the oracle. We don't have an oracle card. We could brain trust it. That seems a little extreme. We're probably going to lose this all anyway, so let's look at what the worst card is. I think this one is. So we flip these guys up. I don't match, so I don't get it. So he gets one of these. It's 5 to 3. The oracle moves 2. And the Aegeid are doing quite well. That gives me the last choice. Now, I could play hard for War and Peace or for something else. Let's look at what the points are, though. He's got 4 points, 5, 6. I've got 1. That's not going to work. I'm going to play for one of the neutral militaries. I'm probably going to lose. Yeah, I'm going to lose 3 honor no matter what. For me, well, I don't see anything I'm going to do that's of great value. I can't steal that. These are each going to be worth 1 no matter what. So, do I want to play the bigger or the littler? It's hard to tell. If I can win this, I get kind of an advantage. But it's not really that important. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say he's playing like a 6 card. That would take 3 away. That's probably still safe, so I'm going to play this and hope for the best. And what we get is 5 with a military, so he gets 2 of these. To 3, so he gets this for 2. These go away. We count the politics. It's 3 to 6. That's a 3-point swing. It goes towards the Aegeid. This moves 3 in each direction. Okay. And last but not least, Let's see. Let's see what the ordering is here. I'm always a little confused about what happens. Here we did that. We did the controlling faction segment. Strategy board. At this point we play out the cards. So the final cards are played. This one's worth 1, and he's the controlling faction, so he will get that 1. This one, pre-play, is worth 4, so he gets those 4 strategos. We'll put him there. This card gets played. And now we allocate the issues. Now, are there any that get played at this point? War and Peace gets played. We've declared war, which I believe means I drop something on the floor. It's a bookmark my file. We get these little war markers instead of the peace markers. Nobody did games. Nobody did citizenship colony, blah, blah, blah. Which means then we allocate these. And for him, that's a military, a diplomacy, and 2 rumors. These. And you can see they cooperated a lot better. Not necessarily, this military didn't get triggered. Over here, he's going to get an oracle, a military. The War and Peace has already been resolved. He gets a league, a diplomacy, and of course his 2 rumors. Okay. So now it's 6 to 4. He has to give a chit. He'll give away a rumor. He could just as safely give away the oracle. But the thing is, the oracle, well, it might make sense. I'm actually going to give him the oracle. It's still my oracle, but he gets to place it. What's the advantage of that? The advantage is these rumors can be played on top of other things to kind of control them. The oracle kind of wants to go early anyway, though, so it's not really a big deal. But that means you hold on to it the longest because of the LIFO ordering that's in play. And now we get back to our sequence of play. We find my little piece of garbage, and we're going to be in the theater issue placement segment. We look at the board. Our highest valued people are actually the demagogues and the Aegeid. I believe the demagogues end up as the first player. And since these guys are tied for honor, I believe the aristocrats end up in 3rd place. I gotta check the tiebreakers for that just to make sure, but I think it's just Athens versus Sparta rather than a specific ordering amongst the different factions. Indeed, that's the case. When you have a tie, it's the controlling faction, Athens, which is going to be the one with the highest in this case, because we haven't been building this up, so it's not like the controlling faction's fallen behind or anything like that. We all started at 10. So the demagogues will be going first, and then it goes to the controlling faction at Sparta, which is the Aegeid. What you're going to see is, I think the Spartans have a little bit of an advantage because they've been working together, but what that means is the Aegeid are getting an advantage over the Europonted. It's one of the things with the game is if you're working towards your nation and trying to help your nation, you might well come in second because you're not padding your own nest adequately. Whereas if you're fighting amongst each other, you might find yourself coming in third because your nation is doing worse overall. You might be second. So there's kind of this balance between how much you want to cooperate with your partner, and if you want to call it that, and how much you want to squabble over different issues. You can see the total number of issues, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It turned out about even. I think Sparta got one extra issue, is all that came of it. But they also got the War and Peace issue, which allowed them, to get them into a position. This looks the same as black to me. My lighting is bad. Which allowed them to get themselves into a position where that they won it in terms of the war situation. That, of course, may give advantages to a peace party a little later, and there might be some overtures towards peace after an initial fight or something like that. I think we're going to break the first turn here and send this one up because it's been about an hour, and then get to the meat of the placements and how to resolve them.